Saturday, September 2nd, 2023. It was a typical weekend. I was sitting at a table at my local game store after another uneventful Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. I'd been planning on staying to observe Pokemon Hour, but for whatever reason, today I felt particularly motivated to try and participate. A quick Google search and one look at my LGS's selection later, I walked back to my table with 3 Chien-Pao EX battle decks. After reviewing deck lists online, I narrowed down the 180 cards I had just acquired to just 60. And with 20 minutes to spare, I was ready to see how my new deck fared against all the seasoned regulars. And to my surprise, the deck went undefeated in all my casual matches. And with these results, I immediately went home, and after looking through my bulk, upgraded the deck even further. Now, before I continue, some of you may be saying, "Well, Jackson, your channel trailer clearly says that you've already played Pokemon competitively, so what's the big idea?" And, well, that's because I did play Pokemon competitively. I've always collected Pokemon, but a few years ago, during Team Challenge Season 3, I played online to try and earn a spot in my local LGS's team. Ultimately, I did not win any of those events, and determined my focus would be better spent on competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, but while those initial competitive attempts were unsuccessful, I've come a long way since then, and now the guy that plays virtually every game. Anywho, back to the context for today's video. After asking around, I found out that my LGS was hosting a tournament the following weekend. Wanting to see if the new additions to my deck would allow me to continue the weird twist of fate I found myself in, I entered. And to my surprise, after 3 rounds of grueling Swiss, I came out on top. At that moment, there was only one thing on my mind: regionals. Where I live in the Midwest, the closest tournaments of this caliber are always Indianapolis, which is still a long drive. Fortunately, last year started a trend around the same time, in which a regional was hosted in my hometown, Peoria. Last year I would have gone, but I made a decision of going to my high school homecoming. All you need to know is that shortly afterward, my date brutally friend-zoned me. But enough about that. It's time for redemption. After finding the event details and seeing the date, I realized I had just but 1 month to train for the event. So, for the next 4 weeks of my life, I observed lists, ordered cards, and practiced on PTCG Live. With 1 week to spare, I was ready. I was also able to convince my good buddy Discord user the Hazel Mazaz to participate in the event with me as well. And by the Thursday before the event, we had his deck optimized as well. Or so we thought. Funny thing is, we forgot to order him rare candies. So we had to open some Pokemon Go the day before the event. For just 2 commons, may I remind you. But after 1 ETB, we pulled the remaining copies, and, evident by this image, a few extra, cards of rarity for our trouble. But, seriously, guys, how is this possible? My goodness. Soon enough, the dawn of October 7th rose, and we embarked on the 20-minute drive to our first regional championship. Cue the montage! Alright, it is round 2. Me and Hazel Mazaz, hello, say hi to his feet. It's round 2. We just got done with round 2. 1-1. This man is 0-2. Unforgivable. We are going, okay, looks like we're going into round 3 sometime between later or soonish. And, yeah, wish us luck. Wish us luck. Hey y'all, we have returned from Peoria Regionals 2023. Fantastic time. Gotta say, guys, this is my very first regional. Placement could have been better. absolutely could have been better. Deck I chose to pilot, as you know, is Chien-Pao EX. Ended up going I only got one win the entire day, which absolute trash, right? Garbage. But every single game I was playing, I was getting to game 3, so it wasn't like I didn't put up a fight, you know. But for participating, we have this Jita promo right here, very solid. Has the regional championships stamp in the corner there. Very solid. And, as you notice, this is not the usual mat I'm using. This is the Regional Championships mat, featuring, I believe, Pokemon is Ting Lu there. Very, very solid, one of the new Pokemon from the Scarlet Violet series of games. Very neat. But let's get into my deck list here. Let me show you what y'all what I was playing here. So we are starting off. We have 3 copies of our Chien-Pao EX. This is this namesake card of the deck. Very solid. Cannot have a Chien-Pao deck without Chien-Pao. Shivering Chill ability once per turn. If this Pokemon is in the active, allows you to search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, add to your hand. Very solid. And for just 2 energy, Hailblade attack deals 60 and discard any amount of water energy from any of your Pokemon. So this can be used for Pokemon on the bench too, which a lot of people had to read that at the event. So that's that there. Of course, it's not Chien-Pao without your Box Caliber engine. So got 3 Frigibacks, 3 Arctibacs, and 3 Box Caliber. After that, 1-drop Pokemon. We have Radiant Greninja, concealed cards, a little draw energy there, and Moonlit Shuriken. Slept on attack, that little ability there, once you can get the energy on it, in matchups like Lost Box or even Gardevoir, if they don't have their Manaphy out to protect their bench, I mean, you can get some pretty easy low HP knockouts. Getting your 2 counters there. We're then playing Luminion V. Luminion V, Luminous Sign, fantastic because it allows you to search your Arita. And Arita, basically, unless you get Ionoed or something like that, along those lines, you are going to be able to very consistently get into your Box Caliber. So, very nice card for consistency there. Now, this is one of my rogue choices. These are little tech cards I took to the event. Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri's Mise en Place ability, search your deck for up to 2 basic energy and attach them to one of your basic Pokemon that shuffle your deck. This is a really good starter. So if you do not have Chien-Pao, do not have anything, but you have this guy, you're able to maybe get a Chien-Pao into your bench, something like that, and you're struggling with specifically your Excalibur engine, you still have a way to accelerate some energy early game. So sometimes, I mean, even your opponent isn't even able to knock this out. So maybe you get, 2 turns able to pull off Mise en Place. You get 4 free energy off of that. So not a bad choice at all. Not a bad choice at all. From there, we can get on to our items, or trainer cards. We have 4 switches, very straightforward. You can switch from your active Chien-Pao to a bench one to get 2 Shivering Chills off, getting a ton of energy in hand. And of course, your main way you're getting to Box Caliber, you are not going into Arctivax and then Box Caliber. You're just going straight to Box Caliber with Rare Candy. Very, very solid card. We have Arita, another staple of this deck. Without this card, it would not be near as consistent. I probably wouldn't even gotten that 1 win I got today. From there, we're discarding a lot of energy. So for superior energy retrieval, get that stuff back at the cost of discarding 2. We then have some Nest Balls. Pretty straightforward, getting basic onto the bench. Very, very good starter. We have 3 Battle VIP passes. You see, Battle VIP Pass, great card, love it. But, you know, when you have a card you can only play on your first turn, you want to consistently see it, but you don't want to brick on it in a later in the game. It doesn't want to be, you don't want necessarily to have a dead card, because otherwise it's just discard fodder for, say, your Ultra Balls, which is our next card we're playing 3 copies of. After that, we have some 1-drops here. We have a Super Rod, just a great way to recycle some of your Pokemon. Hisuian Heavy Ball, in case you prize some important basics, say Chien-Paos. Then you have your outs, 2 cards such as, let's say, I don't know, Path to the Peak. Just a little annoying matchup there. Just a way to not only benefit from it, but be able to search for item cards, top 3 of the deck, being able to add some of those to your hand, but it does get rid of an active stadium card. So if your opponent has someone you don't like, there you go. We have Canceling Clone. Now, at least in my matchups, Canceling Clone was always just discard fodder. Did not see any of that Alakazam EX deck with the Clef Key, the Safeguard Mimikyu. Saw none of that. So Canceling Clone, kind of a dead card in that matchup, but it was nice to have, right, in case that would have been the case. And our other out to Path to the Peak, Lost Vacuum, and also no decks I played really used tools, but still, great card to have. Ideally, again, I am going to make a lot of renditions to this deck, a lot of supplement a lot of cards. I ideally would play more Pokestops, and that's what I'm going to do here. In fact, I just have a little stack already, going to be adding to buy Barrel Engine to it, because I just needed that draw, and we already have another Pokestop we're going to be adding to this deck. 2 Boss's Orders. Again, Boss's Orders, cannot complain. Always a great staple card, stopping some decks from getting their plays off. We also have a Professor's Research, got the cool Celebrations artwork. Great for this deck specifically, because you're just drawing into whatever you need. We then have a Jock, just again, search for the evolution Pokemon. So when in doubt, when in a tough space, need to get Boxcalibur, sometimes you will have to go the long way. So that is an option there. And then we have our energy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 basic energies. And we have one of the prize pack ones, and then one of the 151 hollows there. Very, very solid. I'm a big fan of the deck. I think the one thing I would have liked to have more of this weekend would be draw effects. Let me go over my pairings this weekend. Round 1, played Lugia V. Ended up going 1-2, very, very close. Definitely both very combo-based decks, and it was just kind of which one of us could get those winning pieces first. Round 2, Gardevoir EX, go 2-0 in that matchup. My opponent was just a little overwhelmed, I think. Definitely had he thought a bit further, maybe would have been able to come out on top, but ultimately I was able to take the dub there for my first and only win of the day. For the next 2 rounds 3 and 4, end up playing Lost Box twice, and wouldn't you believe it, during those 2 games, made the exact same mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, may I remind you, when you're ever in a big tournament, you want to remember your fundamental game mechanics, such as, prize cards. Got to put those out. That is not an option. You need to put those out. I did forget to do that, and had searched my deck 2 times, ended up having to call over a judge. That was a whole deal. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can avoid 2 prize penalties at all costs, do so. I ended up getting on the judge's naughty list, and I was not a fan. Not a fan for those silly errors. Caught up in the moment. Not ideal at all. But I will say, after round 3, I check, I see on Arcanine, right, Pokemon's tournament website, I see that at the top tables, Andrew Mahone, Tricky Jim himself, was not only at the event, but was doing, at that time, very well in the event. And so I basically was just walking around looking at all the vendors' tables, and a man that was very familiar walked past and ended up catching me off guard, but I ultimately said hi and was able to shake his hand. I have no proof that I met him, but I did. I did shake Tricky Jim's hand, and that is a very, very fun thing. Very nice to meet him in person. Was right after I said hi to him, ended up going on the live stream and playing his patented Miraidon EX deck. So that was very neat. He wasn't very energetic in my interaction with him. Was clearly very focused, very much in tournament mode, but it's a very neat interaction I've had. From there, next round, this would be round 5, played Gardevoir EX, went 1-2 there. Again, Gardevoir, I feel like Chien-Pao definitely has a very good matchup if you can boss their Gardevoirs while they're still building energies onto them. But in this case, definitely just the way the tempo was going in those last games was not going to come out on top there. And final round I played, which was not the last round of the event, but at that point I had lost so much, I was very much discouraged, did end up dropping early, but in my last round that I did play, ended up going against Charizard EX. 1-2 there as well. It always came down to that last game, and was holding my own, but in the end was not able to pull through. And Charizard, once it gets going, once you start, they use their rare candies, once they get into those Charizard EX, with its ability to accelerate 3 energy at a time, dealing more damage depending on how many prizes you've taken. So once they usually get to that point, you, the opponent, are pretty low on prizes, so they just end up dealing more damage, and they can one-hit KO most of what you put out. So was not working out, but did have a great time at the event. I will say I did splurge a little bit. There's a lot of vendors at the event, a lot of things, and I really wanted to get a memento like that I would remember, and a card I really couldn't get too much where else. There's people selling foreign booster boxes, mats from Japan and stuff like that, but I was able to find, I believe it was at the Full Grip Games booth, a 2012 Autumn Battle Road 3rd place Victory Cup prize card, and I just had to pick it up. I mean, picture this in a slab, graded by CGC. I think that's where this thing is going. So in the coming days, I will have to ship this off, because this is just an incredible card. And I've always been really fond of these, World Championship promos, these prize cards. But they've always been absurd amounts of money. And this was, an event still small enough where it was an affordable, and it was a nice investment. So did pick this up. Very, very solid. And Discord user Hazel Mazaz, who I attended the event with, ended up getting a Japanese Obsidian Flames booster box and a Raging Surf Japanese booster box. So I have recorded those. We went to his house, and again, that's quality's a bit off. Definitely not as edited as this video, but those should be up on the channel maybe after this video goes up. But those are also in the works. So yeah. It was a very fun event, first regional. I saw at the event a lot of my Yu-Gi-Oh buddies. Evidently, just a large portion of us said, hey, let's quit Yu-Gi-Oh for the month, and we're just going to go play Pokemon. And that seemed to be the consensus. And, in truth, that was what a lot of people, in fact, exactly what I did. The 3 Chien-Pao starter decks, that's how a lot of those guys started off. It was a very popular event deck at the event. When I was sitting down at the table for my rounds, there was usually another Chien-Pao player on either side of me. There was always another Chien-Pao player. So that was a neat thing to see. Definitely saw some representation on the live stream. I'd say the Doctor's weaknesses, Iono, Boss's Orders, and Path, right? They want your Box Caliber dead. They want you to get all your Box Calibers and your rare candies out of your hand as soon as possible. And I mean, if you can't use the abilities of your root box, if you can't use your Chien-Pao to get those energies in your hand, even if you already have Box Caliber, that's tough. That's really tough. So playing under those cards was not ideal at all. And the matchups, I mean, again, you can do fairly well. I mean, this deck can do fairly well against Lost Box, against Gardevoir, against Charizard, against Lugia. Heck, all these popular decks in the format that were very heavily prominent at this event just didn't, the luck was not on my side. Fortunately, I don't think I had any, besides forgetting to put out my prizes and getting heavily penalized in rounds 3 and 4, I didn't really make any fundamental errors in terms of my combos. I felt very, very confident. There was no obvious misplays that I wish I could take back. So overall, very, very fun event. And I will cherish every memory I've made from this weekend. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of this type of content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you guys want to say hi in chat, there's a Discord link in the description. And if you want to support the channel financially, there's also a Patreon link down below. But with all that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.